Evaluator number 1, Hemalata Punithavel. Hemalata Punithavel, evaluator number 1.
Childhood memories are to be cherished, and I was able to relate whatever you said from my own childhood. So, commendation positive which I would like to give us, like audience engagement was there, you questioned. So whatever you said, like you started with a questioning which actually created a curiosity. Saying that like, have you done this in your childhood? Yes, all of us have done. Audience engagement was there. You also narrated a lot of personal stories like drinking raw milk or climbing in your own house. So all these personal stories we were all able to relate. And I was actually able to visualize your complete house. The way you narrated, like I was able to see like how, where, which room, or where the terraces, where the bedrooms, like we were all able to visualize your own home. So to give this good speech a great speech, I would recommend 3 more suggestions in this. So recommendation 1 would be filler words. So I was able to feel like a lot of filler words like all this. So you could have avoided this by more of practice and choice of words. So you could have used more different choice of words and more practice, you would have avoided this particular filler word. And positioning, I saw you coming front and back. So just like even in your previous speech you've done, like positioning front and back. Instead, you could have actually started your childhood by drinking, like during that age 3 years, like I was drinking raw milk by standing in the left side. And then going back to the right side, saying that in my college I bit my friend. And then like coming back to the center, conclude, whatever it is. So this kind of a positioning should be done. And again, like you were like laughing in between of your speech. So instead of laughing to yourself, if you would have given a pause there, you could have heard your audience also laugh with you. So that kind of a pause could have been given so that like your audience will laugh for your speech. And to conclude, I would say you had a very good audience engagement and personal stories which was used was too good, and visualization, narration, everything was good. And recommendation I would say, like filler words could have been avoided, positioning should be done, in the staging should be done. And instead of laughing, like pause should have been given so that like we can wait for the audience to pause. And my feedback actually ends here, and your growth will begin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hemalata. I would give 1 minute of time for myself to prepare the master evaluation. Timer, please indicate at the end of 8 red.
Shall we call the next one?
Doctor sent it. I was like doing that mistake.
Timer ready.
ஏன்னா எனக்கு நான்லாம் தெரியாது கேளு.
Evaluation contestant number 2, Narasimharaju. Narasimharaju, evaluation contestant number 2.
Good morning. And Sukanya's provided an excellent speech talking about 3 incidents of our young age story, right? And I have 3 commentation and a couple of recommendation for you, Sukanya. 3 commentations on you articulated all the three story very nicely so that it can relate to or you are able to convey very easily. Second one is body language. You also showed your hand while climbing up the staircase, right? That also it's easily you are able to relate. Three one is since you picked up all the three incidents from your younger age, I was specifically able to relate to certain incident, specifically escape route, right? And climbing up the next neighbor terrace and the escape. One couple of recommendations I have. One is I noticed that when you are moving forward and backward, so very often, I think that could have been improved in a better way, right? Maybe you could have moved to the left for the first instant, then move to the right for the second instant, and to be in the center for the third instant. Something like that, right? And second recommendation is you missed on the climax. Sorry, you were not talking about the climax, right? Because I was so interested in the climax. So what happened after you were doing your school incident, right? Whether you got the TC or not. Third, I'm just it's I was not able to relate to that, right? So even I think you could have elaborated on the climax of the second incident as well. That could have been very entertaining for audiences. Thank you. By the way, you did very good.
Thank you so much. Timer 1 minute. Thank you. So I request everyone to please make your own observations. We do a round robin evaluation also. Contestant number 3, Anirudh Sundararaman. Anirudh Sundararaman, contestant number 3.
One of my favorite activities is to hang out with my friends over a cup of coffee. Good morning, my fellow Toastmasters and my target speaker, Toastmaster Suganya. With your such warm, humorous and authentic speech, I felt I was listening to a friend over a cup of coffee today. Yours was such a beautiful speech when you spoke. I loved several aspects of your speech, but more importantly, before you came on the stage itself, when they read out the speech titled Confessions of a Brag, I felt, this person is my team only. So I felt very relatable listening to all three stories. I felt you narrated it beautifully. So some special aspects of the speech, you are an excellent storyteller. You are able to narrate stories, get into the depths. Usually when someone says oh, this is the story that I'm going to tell, and just talks about it at a surface level, I'm wondering where is the story. But today it was amazing that it felt so authentic and relatable. The tone also was very valuable. I was very curious, what is going to happen next? Oh, this person has done an action, and how is it, the situation going to respond? And you brought in a lot of humor when you were talking about the packet, when you were scolded by your parents, and when you bit the fellow member in the bus, school student, I was like laughing around in my seat. Now, what could be made better in this speech? I felt the first feedback that I have for you is, you could have enacted for me to visualize this speech better. For example, I am someone who finds it very difficult to visualize spatial events. When you told 3 doors and grill and all, I was left wondering where it was. So all the 3 doors were locked. So me and my brother went and climbed the grill and did that. That would have served a lot of advantage in your speech. Excellent use of stage movement could have been done. You could have looked at us. I felt like that person in the cafe where the speaker is very engaging but not looking at me. Am I doing something wrong as an audience member? So enacting to visualize would have afforded you to look at a lot of people. That would have also made filler words redundant. When you actually enact, the pause and all those things brings, you don't have to stand and just narrate. The second important aspect is, a lot of people like foam with their coffee. I do not. I want to get to the coffee itself directly. Today I felt the foam in your speech was, there was always a setup, but I felt the setup was not necessary. So instead of saying, before I start, how many of you, like there was a few seconds that went into it, you could have immediately started how many of you. Instead of telling, I'm going to tell 3 stories, you could have actually started with the stories. So in those 2 points where you could cut some parts around, I would have enjoyed your speech more. To summarize, I think you are a very warm, authentic speaker who is also able to bring out humor. I was able to enjoy your speech, all those aspects. If you get just enact and make it more visually easier for me to understand, and also cut out some parts where the speech will be more tight, I'll be able to enjoy your speech more. I am actually looking for a cup of coffee after this meeting with you. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Anirudh. We'll give another 120 seconds for us to make the final remarks.
Satish, I must start.
Ready?
Ready? Okay.
You might want to take
Take 1 minute.
So these are some of the common points, not just for today's evaluators, but for everyone who attended the workshop today. The first and the foremost is, if you didn't get the speaker's name, it's always better to say, my dear speaker, the target speaker, test speaker, and so on, rather than inventing a new name and christening them right there. Right? The second one also holds good for the title aspect. If you didn't get the title, please don't touch the title at all. Okay? Just surpass it. Vocal variety includes pitch, pace, volume, tone, and all of it, right? The intonation patterns and all. So don't contradict your commendation recommendation. Don't say you had amazing vocal variety and then go to the recommendation and say, I want you to work on the pace. Without realizing, vocal variety is a larger umbrella under which we have pitch, volume, pace, and everything. So when you say something of a bigger umbrella like vocal variety, body gestures, and so on, it also means that you're covering everything underneath. So don't go to your recommendation and contradict your commendation. Yeah? Commendations to all, recommendation to the speaker in terms of your eye contact. When you're working on your commendations, when you're giving commendations to the speaker, it is okay to look at everyone and then glance at the speaker once, every now and then. But for recommendations, spot on, look at the speaker and give your recommendations. Not just the speaker, it's okay to glance everyone, but look more focused on the speaker. You are allowed to use notes. The judges are briefed not to reduce marks if you are using notes in an evaluation speech contest. So use notes, but use notes appropriately. You can glance notes, but please don't read every single word out of your notes. So that's one point as well. Very, very effective one that worked miracles for me is to use the same notebook for all your club evaluations. Wherever you do evaluation, use the same notebook so that I can always go back and refer to the past evaluations pick up some techniques from the past and see if we can apply them there at that speech for that speaker, right? So thereby you also create your own repository. So I do the evaluations in the front pages, but for the back 10 pages I used to keep specific notes, some really good techniques that worked for me. So I just glance at them every now and then and keep preparing and practicing during club evaluations in my club or any other club that I take up an evaluator with. Hema. Today, I love the way how you related, you asked the speaker asked the appropriate questions with a personal story, you were able to visualize and all that, very well done. I love the way how you demonstrated all your recommendations. You just didn't stop by saying use good stage move. You demonstrated it by moving around the stage, very well done. I love the way how you also looked into the details and said pause so that the audience will react with you. And you also paused when you said that, very well done. I absolutely loved your conclusion. My evaluation ends here and your growth begins right here. Very well done. The last words are the lasting words, and I think you made a greater impact there with your conclusion. Very well done today. Narasimha Raju. Definitely a good opening is required. So probably I would recommend you to be ready with a few quotes and use an appropriate quote for that particular speech at that point of time. Your commendations were well explained. You need to demonstrate your recommendation here and there. The summary was missing. So it is very essential to say, in summary, this is what I wanted you to do, right? So that was missing. Overall, a very good attempt, Narasimha Raju. Well done. Anirudh, I love the way how you use this theme throughout your evaluation, a theme of coffee at a cafe with your friends. You beautifully sprinkled it at the start, during commendation, recommendation, and it also finally came to the summary part of it. Very well done. One theme beautifully spread across all your subdivisions in your evaluation. I loved how you picked the details of today's speech in terms of commendation, in terms of recommendation. You didn't stop by just recommending, you also went and said how to do it better, which is an elevation point for you as an evaluator. I loved your summary because it again tied back to your opening, which was having coffee with your friends at a cafe. A well-rounded evaluation. You really scored well in the ballot as well. Very good attempt. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Viji. I will take next 5 minutes to give my master evaluation, I will put it. And then we will take the time for the next 15 minutes to a round robin as well. If you feel something is not covered so far or you want to make sure. So I'll make it a little simple. You can keep your 1+1 ready. For every evaluator, you can say one good thing and one area for improvement. So that will help us to have a collective learning also. Starting with Hema, the positive way of things what you used about the personal stories, visualization and narration are the 3 things what you used. Also, how this filler to be replaced with practice and word choice and positioning of the speaker on the stage, and finally the laughing, the self-laughing can be replaced with the pass. So I have brilliant things on positive and area for improvement, also with the ending. I have noted down 3 things which you can make it better. Number 1 is, your opening was very, very short, relating it yourself with, I could relate with myself, early, younger days of myself or my learning. You know, it is very short for an opening. If you come out with something pre-prepared, relate that with the speaker and make it as the thing which is going to be everlasting, number 1. Number 2, you said filler words are to be avoided. You can replace it by practice and avoiding. As a recommendation from the contest as evaluator, you can always tell them, what is this filler word doing to me? Why should I avoid the filler word? That will differentiate it. So you can always use this question of what, why and how, even when you make your recommendation. The third one, which I felt was, you had kind of a sequence of personal stories, visualization and good narration. Always try to make some kind of a theme or a relatability factor on your recommendation and commentation in terms of sequencing. So that will make you a distinct evaluator comparing everyone else. Thank you so much. Now comes to the Narasimha Raju. You started with a healthy morning and you had the 3 things which you loved most about conveying easily the stories and body language and the relatability part when you talk about the escape route. And also you mentioned about 2 things which is moving back and forth. Also the climax was missing. What do you want to know about it? I have at least 4 improvements, Narasimha Raju, for you to talk about it. Number 1, never use a loosely placed words in your evaluations. Evaluations are razor sharp. Don't tell them like I have a couple of recommendations. Make it clear either you have 3 commendations and 2 recommendations, or 3+3 or 3+1. no loosely placed words, number one. Number two, evaluation for me felt little abrupt because you finish the evaluation before even you take it to a conclusion. I'm not sure about the timer, we'll get the timer report also, so we can relate it from where you move from one place to other. The third one is, for me it looks like you are thinking too much before your delivery. Your delivery tells us that you are thinking too much. So make sure that you have a predefined thoughts. I understood your confidence that you don't want to look at the notes because you have something time to prepare for yourself. So make sure that you have a pre-preparedness even when you are a first speaker. The fourth one I would recommend you is to use some keywords rather than a flurry of words for your commendation and recommendation. Use some keywords. Say for example, start with clarity. Hemalata, I loved your clarity in your evaluation, number one. Likewise, you can make it that way. That's all about Narasimha Raju. Comes to the third speaker, Anirudh. Brilliant way of connecting with the theme, right from the positive, improvement and closure. Relatable storyteller, the tone was valuable, and you relate with how you had, coffee, you have a conversation with your friend over a coffee. Also, you placed upon the two improvements of enacting to visualize about the window and walking as well. Again, the foam in coffee. So my only improvement I would say for you, Anirudh, is to give some brevity in your recommendation. The first recommendation was taking us to a great level of making and change immediately. The second recommendation felt little loss of brevity, or I would say the clarity. You said the foam in coffee, the setup was not necessary, could have been replaced with a more clear word, so it will make the speaker to learn and improve in the next speech onwards. Thank you so much, Anirudh, and personally I noted down a couple of improvements for speaker as such. The speaker in the story, the whole story what she shared, there were 3 incidences, there were many opening and closure. I felt the story can be transitioned in a way it can relate it to each other. Or it's not a timeline story, it's the same time of story. The transition of one story to the other could have been much better. Also, like someone pointed out, the conclusion part could have taken up, and brilliantly I noted down on this laugher part, laughing part. The self-laughing, it can be self-deprecating humor, but need not to be laughed by the speaker themselves. We can let the audience to respond to that. With this, I would conclude my master evaluation for these 3 evaluators. I'll keep the floor open for others to share any 1+1. Vijay, you can take it forward.
We'll do a 360. We'll probably ask each person what they like the most, and then one area of recommendation. Remember, this is not for the evaluators, for the speaker. So you are the evaluator.
For the speaker.
For the speaker. You wrote it for the evaluators, no?
Please
Please feel free to share for the speaker.
Okay.
If you are the evaluator today, if you were one of the contestants, what would be your one key commendation, one key recommendation?
So commentation is connection was good. So in between you are engaging the audience always, and you are also asking the question. By that way your engaging was good. So some of the recommendation is that, as I rightly pointed out, transitions I felt somewhat abrupt, or there is no connectivity between one incident to other incident. And conclusion also, I felt that abruptly you finished your speech and moved on. So that can also be improved, and all other things they covered. You are moving front and back, that can be avoided.
Question. You pointed out the recommendation. Would you also like to tell the speaker how? How to transit better?
So we need to have a connect. So for example, you said that you bite someone, and you were expecting, or the driver said that the headmaster was calling your mom, collect the TC. So from that point you said, these are all my lessons, or maybe you also felt the same way. So how you can, from there how you moved on, something like that you would have connected.
What was the other recommendation? Transition and
Conclusion was,
yeah, how to make an impactful conclusion.
this is an entertaining speech. If it is other way around, we would have called for an action and all. So maybe from what you have learned from all these lessons, from all these 3 incidents, you would have formed some kind of lessons, and that how it will help us for you in the next upcoming years, or all your college days, how it helped, something like that, you would have taken it.
I was actually prepared for it, but since the time card showed red, I was like, okay, I'll have to close it and let it.
Thank you, Arun. Why am I calling you Janni? Jayashree.
Because you forgot me, that's the reason. Okay.
Let's skip that part, unwanted part, and go with the commendation.
Okay, for commendation, I'll go with one commendation. This speech had out of three, basically three instances that made it memorable for me when I was also looking at it. So that was really good. One recommendation for this Brad speech to become a brilliant speech would be, what is in it for me as an audience after listening to this for 5 to 7 minutes? If it had been there, it would have been better. What you could have done here is, probably these could be a Brad Chronicles for the 7 minutes. But if you have not done all these mysterious activities, I would not have been here to tell some stories. So let's enjoy the memories, or let's create memories by doing something, or relieve the child in you. That could have been a better conclusion, so that I would get what's in it for me.
Fantastic. Now, while giving your recommendation, you said the word probably. Avoid saying that, because when you use that, it means like even you are not sure about what you're recommending, right? So avoid the word saying probably. I think you should have done this. You think, or you think you're sure that I should have done this, right? So avoid the word probably. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Today I thought, let me apply the technique that you have given, and that really helped me very much, that 4 quadrant, you know.
Oh.
So I have used that technique
Satish,
here.
did you hear that?
So that first start is, I liked it, the way she smiled and then she started. So that was something which I loved, and it brought out the child in all of us, and it was nostalgic. So that's the start which I had applied. And for the commendations, like it had so much of relatability. Everybody would have been naughty, or at least somewhere they would have seen somebody, you know, either their nephews or no, it is not something nobody can escape. So that topic was very much relatable. I loved that relatability, and the content was very good. And she started with a initial question, so that no, it captured the audience attention, and she had a many curiosities. No, she had different stories, but the stories did not end. So it made like I have to go connect back to her, or somewhere, no, it led me, wandering. So that was something which I really loved. If there are some recommendations that could be given, there are just 2 recommendations that I can change. The title was kind of, no, it was too big, and it appeared to be complex for me. If I had to know, I loved the content, but I could not get what it was. So the title could be made very simple, something like Cat Stories, or Tommy Moments, or Tommy Troubles, something, which says Cat and Jerry. I mean, Tom and Jerry thing could be related, because I could see she brought about cat and the other part. So that was something, the title could be made simple so that the audience can have a connect. And the other part is, maybe she could have brought a prop. Why I was thinking is, even I too had the habit of drinking milk, that raw milk. If she could have brought a packet of milk, no? So anytime if I have to recollect, if there are many other speeches that are there, if I have to relate to her, the prop will make me, anytime I see that milk packet will make me recollect that speech. So it's not that that prop will not do any other thing, but it will help you in the recollecting factor. So that is something which I would say. And if at all they have to have a message, I like the message that she had there. As kids, we do not know what parents are, hyperactive. So there, maybe if she could bring in a subtle message, because the humor was there, but if a subtle message like, as kids do not know, but how important it is. One more sentence that is there, no? The entire speech, though it is a humorous speech, it might cover and have added some important message over there. So overall, it was a very good speech, which I really loved, had a relatability and a very good content. If given a chance, change the title and bring a prop so that it stays fresh in memory for everyone.
Fantastic. You gave a complete evaluation. Just like how I said for the word probably, the word maybe also applies. Right? When you're recommending, and if you say maybe, it tends to lean towards that you are not very sure about what you're suggesting. Right? So avoid that.
So and one more thing before we just close with Priya, the 4 quadrant is an approach for preparing your evaluation. Be careful, because it's not a technique. So 4 quadrants is a method to prepare the evaluation. If you ask techniques like, for example, she spoke about traffic executive, CRC, or acronym, those are all the techniques. So I don't want her to present it on anywhere. It is a method of capturing the evaluation speech.
I think the word structure was the speaker could have probably, instead of that as we saw, I thought the speaker should. That I thought if you had brought the.
That's
the
why we
words-
say it's very important to use the word I all the time. So even if you have used I, probably that would have been a bit more subtle. Yes, see?
So maybe speakers and I have put on 3 points. Yeah, so the commendation side, definitely it's a very relatable story. Everyone you should visualize and jump into the story immediately, travel with her. So excellent way of narrating the story. The recommendation parts I do have two things. One, the title which it can be shorter enough so that people like Umar and like me can easily understand that. So that's one thing. And there are a lot of places for the feelings, right? The principal was ready with the TC. It can be, she was telling it with a smile, but it has to be angry in that mode. Oh, that's positive. And next, the girl will be getting in the bus. There was a girl who was sitting where she has already blocked that. So there's a moment of fighting. So those kind of things can better expressed, can be more easily taken into the.
Thank you, Sir. Closing comments, Satish? Shall I give you?
Okay, so we will conclude and give it back to Hemalata. And
Thank you,
so
thank
much.
you. Good luck, all of you.
One last question, are you both contesting?
I cannot because once you're district winner, you will not contest for the
It
same
is not
contest
cannot,
time.
I don't want.
Okay, I don't want to. Yeah. Satish?
I'll contest.
Yeah.
So I'll contest in humorous as well.
And this is the first time Satish is contesting in humorous in last 14-15 years. So thanks a lot, Satish. Thanks, Vijay. So it was definitely a lot of learning. I have attended a lot of couple of evaluation workshop, but this was definitely learning. A lot of new things I did learn, and there is still an opportunity. Next week is our contest. There is still an opportunity. Whoever is not participating in evaluation contest, you can still come up. After this learning, I think you should also come up, join us. So evaluation contest next week again 8:30. 8:30 we have the contest. So please join us. And whoever is not given the name, you still have time. Please join us again. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you.